Sometimes just finding a way to start a story is virtually impossible, and I find myself with that same problem again with this story. With these 6 kids who lost their lives in Naledi in Soweto, I'm not scripting anything, I'm not reading anything from any notes, I'm just talking from the heart. And I'm asking the same questions, and I hope that I get through all the questions that I'm sure the entire South Africa is asking. Because it's unfair for a parent, for a community, for friends and family to lose 6 kids in one incident. How does anything like this happen? Something that's supposed to be preventable. Let's get to the story. Welcome to the Reandro Show, where I explore those stories that affect everyone in South Africa in one way or the other. Earlier this month, many of us came across the news articles of the 6 children in Soweto, in Naledi in Soweto, passed away after consuming food, a snack. And so many things happened from there. The community, understandably, was very upset, and they started attacking foreigners, attacking other spaza shops, questioning the government, questioning the police, the health department, questioning everyone, because every community, as every parent's right is to do, they want answers. What happened? Why is my child dead from something they ate? Food that's supposed to be safe. And it's a question every parent and every community member is allowed to ask, irrespective of who you are. We are a very diverse cultures and diverse group of people in South Africa, which includes foreigners, by the way. We cannot just turn on foreigners. We have to remember not one foreigner represents another foreigner as an individual or a community. But when these kind of things happen, we do get people out there who start speculating and then start turning against foreigners. Or people who start turning against one individual against one other individual, or community against community, race against race even. And everyone wants to point fingers. But in this case, we have to point fingers at those who are actually responsible. Those who were in possession of the poison. The poison which has now been called Terbufos is the name. And a name I never heard until yesterday for the first time on the 28th of October in a briefing by our health minister, where he briefed the media and the country and told us about this new organophosphate toxin, which caused the death of the children after a huge investigation, which is ongoing, by the way. It has not yet stopped. Our police minister, Senzo Nkunu, is also involved in it, and to some extent spearheading, which I think is just right, because our questions are not only to the government, but to the police, to the community leaders, to our health ministry, to our health inspectors. How did this happen? Poisons seem to have gotten into our communities through spaza shops. And I'm not talking about poisons such as two-step. Everyone knows two-step, Aldi Carb. And I know that 4 individuals were arrested at a mall for the possession of Aldi Carb. But in this case, it was not Aldi Carb, two-step. The thing that they use to poison the dogs, which a lot of people argue they use to keep pests like rats under control. But it's highly toxic, and you may not distribute it or sell it in spaza shops or any other place for that matter. It's highly regulated. But now we have a new poison, which is called Terbufos. I have to read the name because it's something new to me. And what is Terbufos? What is it used for? Where did it come from? How did it get into our communities? How did it get into a spaza shop? And how did it get into the food? Even if it's just a snack. Terbufos, from the bit of information I've been able to gather, is an agricultural pesticide used in specialized cases, etc. But it is regulated. It's not something that's easy to get hold of. So why was the spaza shop using it? And it seems the argument is that because it is so poisonous, it is used to keep rats and other pests under control, such as, let's say, cockroaches and whatever else. And how it was applied, how it was used in the spaza shop is still a mystery at this stage, but I'm sure enough investigation from our health ministry and police services will bring more information to light. We have to be patient. We have to be patient. Unfairly so, but we have to be patient. Many of these spaza shops buy these big bags of snacks. Chips, as we call them in South Africa. Our international visitors do bear in mind, I'm going to use a lot of South African terms, but we buy these big bags of snacks. And then they subdivide them into smaller bags. And it is possible that some of this poison may have been on the floor, may have earlier been distributed on their hands. These packets, it was subdivided into, were placed down on a surface in which this poison had already been in contact with. Meaning that we know how kids are. You've got a packet of chips and you're eating the chips, and now you're getting onto your hands. And kids, especially kids under 10, for some reason always have their hands and they're near their mouths. They're licking their fingers. They're touching things, and their hands and mouths are in constant contact. This may have been a contributing factor to them ingesting the toxin. As dangerous as it is, how can it be prevented? Well, in the first place, that spaza shop should not have been in possession of this poison, Terbufos. How did he get hold of it? That, I think, is the first question that needs to be answered. The first point of investigation needs to be, how did this person, the owner of the spaza shop or whoever got hold of it, how did they get hold of it? Where? And that point of distribution needs to be addressed. Because if it's a regulated substance, then that person who supplied it to the spaza shop needs to be reprimanded or charged in one way or another. And not just this little slap on the wrist. I'm talking about people who need to get sent to jail. And not just a short little sentence, something decent. So people know that when you do these kind of things and children lose their lives, it's serious. It doesn't warrant a slap on the wrist. Lives have been lost. 6 kids, families, 6 families that'll never, ever be the same again. Losing a child is one of the hardest things a parent can go through. Was this poison distributed to other places? So we quickly need to find out, is this a single point of contact, or are there other places where this thing, this stuff, this poison, this Terbufos could possibly be? Because until we are certain that it isn't in other spaza shops, it is a danger. But please, I am not threatening spaza shops out there. And I'm not asking the community to do anything on their own. We need to leave this to the authorities. But we need to put pressure on the authorities that this kind of thing needs to be addressed and investigated as soon as possible. Because it puts a distrust on spaza owners, operators, sellers, and the public. the community out there. And until we are absolutely certain that this poison is not available anywhere else, it is going to be worrying. That is the main thing. The source of the Terbufos is still unknown. And the main question is, where did it come from? Like Aldi Carb, it may not be sold. I know there's a lot of spaza shops out there that are selling it out there, and my plea to every spaza shop, get rid of this stuff. I know it's effective for whatever you want to use it, but it creates dangers which you are ultimately going to be responsible for should it get into food and someone dies. The community is going to blame you. The authorities are going to blame you if you allow these kind of poisons to get into the food supply, near food, and then this happens again. Now, the second big question is that everyone asks is, how could this have been prevented? Aren't there regulations for spaza shops, for businesses, for poisons? Yes, there's a lot of regulations. You can't just go out and open a spaza shop. A foreigner can't just go out and open a... there are regulations. Business regulations, food regulations. There's many regulations. The regulations are out there. The problem, however, is that law enforcement is not applied. And this is where the problem comes in. So it's not that there are not enough or correct or sufficient regulations for this kind of thing, which includes poison regulation, food regulation, business regulation, and health regulations. The regulations exist. The enforcement is where the problem comes in. And yeah, who is to blame? Is it the health department? Is it the municipalities? Is it the SAPS? Who is to blame for not enforcing the law, not doing the inspections that need to be regularly done? And in this case, I think that they need to do additional checks where surfaces are checked for poisons, toxins. Swab the floor, swab the counters, check the back rooms, check everything, all surfaces. The testing mechanisms need to be sped up. Look how quickly this one happened. The toxicology report came out a lot quicker than you would normally expect a toxicology report if you're swabbing surfaces. That needs to be prioritized, especially when it comes to retailers, spaza shops, providing food items and articles to the communities. When I, as an inspector, come and I do swabs, that swab, it becomes important. It needs to be tested and a result needs to come back quickly. I can't wait 2-3 years. The government needs to look at a process of making sure that when inspections are done, firstly, we need inspectors and we need them to do their work regularly. Not inspect a shop, one shop once a year, regularly, once a month at least. And when they do swabs and tests or whatever, it needs to be efficiently handled and quickly reported on. When a new shop is opened, it needs to be thoroughly inspected and checked. Were the business regulations adhered to? Is it who owns the shop? May they own a shop? Do they have business operating visas in South Africa if it's foreign owned? Have they gone through the correct regulations of investment, etc.? There's a lot of things. A foreigner can't just open a shop in South Africa if they're not a citizen of South Africa. And I feel that too many of these regulations are bypassed or bribed. I feel very sorry for the community, the parents, friends and family of these 6 kids. And my heartfelt condolences to you, because this should not have happened. It's unfair, but we also need to maybe educate our children to be very careful of what they buy, where and when. Children under a certain age should not be going out to these spaza shops and buying random items, snacks, without supervision. However, in this case, I don't feel that it would have made that much of a difference. But we don't know what is being given to them. Is it really safe? And had it been supervised, we would have had persons to identify. But there's so many things. We don't want to get into a war of what if I did this, what if I did that? Because it just extends the heartache of those involved. Let's hope our government addresses the concerns of the community. And when I talk of the community, I'm talking about South Africa, not just Naledi in Soweto. This could have happened anywhere. And if you believe that it only happens in places like Soweto, you're wrong. This could have happened from any small shop, anywhere, in any town, in any neighborhood. We need law enforcement to protect the entire community of South Africa, not just Soweto. The entire community of South Africa needs protection, and for that we need good law enforcement with good police, well-educated, well-trained police officers. And yeah, I do a call on our police minister, Senzo Mchunu. Please, we need good policing, skilled people, detectives. If you found any value out of this video, I would really appreciate if you do like, share and subscribe, because it does assist me to make more of these kind of videos. And if you do have any comments, please put them down in the comment section, but please also remember that we need to keep this respectful, not only to the parents of these 6 kids, but to each other. I will see you in the next video.